To remove your diff from a S13. Things you will need. One moment. Let's pause the music. Things you will need to get this job done. One, an iPod if you're doing it by yourself, because you're going to want something that's going to entertain you. You are going to need a 17 wrench or ratchet for these guys. And then you are gonna need a 12 to take off these guys right here. These guys have to be removed, and you're gonna have your e-brake up. And when you release your e-brake, you'll be able to turn these to get to the other side. There's 6 on each side. I here already have 2 removed. Okay, and then you will need a 17 for here, and then a 14 to disconnect your drive shaft. Now, some people say the sway bar gets in your way. We're gonna find out, okay? Now, I'm gonna get to these bolts, and I'll be right back to you when I get all right, guys, don't mind the mess. We are gonna take the e-brake, and we are going to drop it down. If I can never get my damn... Okay, guys. Gonna put that e-brake down. Alright, now that the e-brake is down, you can spin your back wheels freely. So we're gonna move it until we have the next set. Now, if you play around with it enough, you can get these to a point where you can still reach them, as well as the next ones on the other side. It's up to you if you wanna do one side at a time, but if you're like me, you wanna try to do work smart, just line them up a little bit. These will be at a slight angle, and these will be better. For these guys, unless you have a smaller ratchet than I have, you're gonna need the wrench, which has disappeared the 12. Okay. One thing that you'll run into, you need a 12, not a half. A half is equivalent to a 12, but the half, this is a half, and this is an actual 12. The half, once it's on there, it fits, but it's actually the slightest bit too big. It'll keep turning on it. It won't actually catch enough to turn it. So you're gonna need an actual 12 to actually get on there, okay? Alright, see you guys when I'm done with this one. I'm gonna put the e-brake back up to lock the wheels up, because you're gonna need the rear wheels locked so that when you push on it, you don't actually spin it. Alright, I am trying to educate as much as possible so that you guys don't go through the problems I went through, okay? Alright, now, with some of the bolts, you might run into this problem where you're actually on it and you broke it loose, but yet, as you're turning it, it's not actually loosening because the bolt behind it's turning. Alright, gonna show you, there's 2 ways to do this. You can either get one of these guys, or if you have another 12, you can put the 12 on the other side, and you don't necessarily have to hold them both at the same time, because if you see between here, the 12 would actually end up turning. Once you're turning it with it, it'll turn and hit either the other bolt, or it'll hit the actual piece that's connected to the drive shaft. So it'll hit that once you turn it, and it'll allow it to stay still. So you don't need to hold that second 12. But I'm gonna put this on and show you how I did it. Alright, this is how I did it. I just left that up there, and I took this in, and I up. Alright, well this time it fell off, because last time I was holding it, but now I'm trying to hold the camera. Let's try that again, shall we? Okay, so we are gonna try this again. We're gonna tighten it around the bolt. Then we are gonna take 12 and we are gonna twist and and turn. And as you see, that since there's not applying any pressure to it, I'm just holding it there in place because this is kind of heavier than it would be another wrench. And if you had another wrench, you can actually just put it on the hole so it would hold itself there. But this is gravity takes over and pretty much pulled it down from me. But after you break them loose, then they turn right out. You know. Boop. So now we broke it loose. The bottom end is turning by itself, see? You know, but one moment. This is really hard to do in a film. But okay. Look, just holding it and spinning it off. Okay. So that is done. And that is what you will need to do if you run into the problem of your screws turning at the same time, if they're both turning together, okay, to break it loose. So now we have all the bolts out of here, all 6 are out of here, all 6 are out of here. Now I think we are gonna move on to the taking off the drive shaft bolts. Now this is gonna be a 14, the drive shaft bolts. What you're gonna want to do when you originally came underneath here, your car was in neutral and you weren't in any gears. But as you're gonna find out, if you have your car in neutral, this is gonna move around a lot. I currently have my car in first gear so that I can so it locks up. So when you're turning, you don't end up turning the whole drive shaft. All right. So I am gonna get the bolts out that I can reach, and then I'm gonna show you how to turn it. Well, seems that we ran into a little snag. Well, not too much of a snag, but the sway bar, it's cutting it really close to have the sway bar there and to keep it there. We're gonna do our best and try to take it off with the sway bar still here, because we can still get our wrench around it, but we may need to drop it. We'll be back and let you know if it's needed to be dropped or not. Alright, so we didn't have to drop the sway bar so far. Take out these 2 guys. There was one here and there was one here. We had to come around to get these angles. So that leaves 2 more. Now I'm going to show you guys how to get the next 2, which is one here, and if you can see the guy, one back there. Okay? So we're gonna get those guys closer to make turning them way easier. Currently, I had my car in first gear. Well, I had it in 8 gear, period. It really doesn't matter which gear you have it in. But now, it's in neutral, okay? So now that's in neutral, we're gonna be able to turn the drive shaft to get. Alright, so now we are in neutral. And see how easy that drive shaft turns? Alright, so I believe that's where we were at when we were getting the other ones, so that's where I'm gonna leave it, because I know how to get to these 2 without having to move the sway bar. For this one, you're gonna have to rest the wrench on it. Just rest the wrench on the sway bar and push towards your right. Don't go to the left, to the right. For those who get confused on which way is tighten and loosen. Right, so now we are about to take out the last bolt that is holding the drive shaft up. Okay, so now your drive shaft, you know, it may fall down, but you just want to definitely give it some support. Okay, but now the drive shaft is disconnected now. Okay, so now what's left, we have these 2 main bolts that's supporting the weight of the drive shaft, and then we have these guys back here. Okay, so we're gonna attack these guys next with a 17, and then we're gonna save these guys for last, because just to be on the safe side, you know, I'm a stronger gentleman, and I can pretty sure that I'll be able to take the weight of the drive shaft. But you know, we're gonna get a jack, and we're gonna put a jack underneath this when we're loosening these bolts here. so the drive shaft doesn't fall down on you and hurt you. All right.